the tension off.
It's already been a very impressive evening here in a very impressive venue. That is the Trump Taj Mahal. But the moment we have all been waiting for is forthcoming. This man right here, Kevin the Monster Randleman, is set to defend his heavyweight championship belt against Randy Couture. Agile, mobile, hostile. UFC heavyweight champion Kevin Randleman may be the finest athlete to ever enter the octagon. Decorated at every level of competition, Randleman was a state champion in high school, a three-time Big Ten wrestling champion at Ohio State, and a two-time NCAA National Wrestling Champion. His professional fight career has followed a similar pattern. Dominant against former champion Maurice Smith, a controversial loss to a heavily marked up Boss Rutan, 5 rounds of control to win the title in Japan against Pete Williams, and a unanimous decision against The Rock, Pedro Hizzo, last June. Brash, outspoken, and phenomenally talented, Kevin Randleman returns to the octagon tonight to put his UFC belt on the line and face his toughest challenge yet. Randleman 3-1 in his UFC career to take on the undefeated former UFC heavyweight champion of the world, the natural, Randy Couture. All-America, national champion, world team member, Pan Am Games champion. When you talk about Randy the Natural Couture, you're talking about one of the finest Greco-Roman wrestlers to ever compete on the mat or in the octagon. He brought this outstanding skill and experience to the octagon for the first time in May of 1997, where he rolled through that night's 4-man tournament with ease. At UFC 15, Couture faced Brazilian phenom Vitor Belfort to decide who was the #1 contender in the heavyweight division. To the surprise of many, the fight was all Couture, who completely neutralized Belfort and scored with heavy punches and knees until the fight was stopped. Any questions were answered. Randy Couture was for real. With that win, Couture met Maurice Smith at Ultimate Japan to fight for the heavyweight title. Neither fighter mounted overwhelming offense, and the judge's decision went the way of Couture. A perfect 4-0, Randy Couture was at the top of the mixed martial arts world. Little did anyone know it would be almost 3 years until he would return to the UFC. Unable to come together with promoters and eager to return to competitive wrestling, Couture left the UFC, an undefeated champion. Ready to return to full-time fighting, Randy the Natural Couture returns to the UFC tonight to regain the belt he never lost. And I think that is one of the many facets that makes this such an intriguing matchup here tonight, is Randy Couture never lost his heavyweight belt. He is set in the main event to take on Kevin the Monster Randleman. You are talking about two of the greatest wrestlers to ever walk on this planet. Greco-Roman against freestyle, champion against champion, and the best belt in all of the mixed martial arts world is on the line. Birthplace Everett, Washington, fighting now out of Gresham, Oregon. Self-managed, basically self-taught, and one of the finest wrestlers in the history of that great sport. Here he is, walking through the gates for the first time since December 1997.
Perhaps the only thing missing from Randy Couture's elaborate and very successful wrestling career is a berth on an Olympic team. He's very good in the clinch, and that's where I think he beat Belfort. And now, since he's retired from the sport of wrestling, he's focusing full-time on MMA.
Big smile on his face, almost as if to say hello once again to Big John McCarthy, 4-time world team member, Pan Am Games champion, national champion in Greco-Roman, ready to take on a national wrestling champion from Ohio State. OSU against OSU. Here tonight, Randleman against Couture. There is our heavyweight champion of the world, Kevin Randleman. They the controversial decision to boss Rutten in UFC 20. Since that point, he has been unstoppable in his UFC career. Petey Williams, Pedro Hizzo,
right here real quick.
and he also has defeated in his career Maurice Smith. JP.
Boy, look how relaxed Couture is. He just laughing, smiling. He just looks so relaxed out there.
In the meantime, looks so intense. He always has that eye of intensity. Tail of the tape here for our heavyweight championship matchup from the beautiful Trump Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. It is the 37-year-old wrestler Randy Couture against the 29-year-old wrestler Kevin Randleman. Randleman, one of the finest athletes to ever grace this great octagon in the UFC. The official introductions as the emotions are high. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of the evening. These two UFC warriors have entered the octagon knowing that right now the stakes are on the table, because two men have entered and only one tonight will leave a champion. And now, let's begin the battle for the most coveted title in mixed martial arts today. It's 5 rounds for the UFC Heavyweight Championship of the world. Let's begin with the fighter standing to my left. He is a wrestler with a UFC record of 4-0. He is a 4-time Greco-Roman national champion, a 3-time All-American, and former UFC heavyweight champion. Standing 6 feet 1 inch tall, weighing in at 220 pounds, fighting out of Gresham, Oregon. He is back for more. Let's welcome Randy, the Natural Couture. And his opponent, standing to my right, no stranger to the octagon, he is a wrestler with a mixed martial arts record of 9-3. He is a 3-time Big Ten champion and a 2-time national champion. Standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing in at 214 pounds. Coming to us from Columbus, Ohio, he is the reigning UFC heavyweight champion of the world. Please welcome Kevin the Monster Randleman.
8 heavyweight fights have been contested here in Atlantic City in the modern era, from Tyson Spinks in '88, Holyfield Foreman in '91, to Randleman Couture here tonight in the year 2000.
Right, here we go. You ready? You ready?
Notice he taped his ankles. His ankles are vulnerable. They're very, very small.
Kevin Randleman taping the shoes and the laces and the ankle.
It's also a rule, if you're going to kick with the shoes, the laces have to be taped, so who knows? Will we see a kick from Kevin Randleman?
Well, he just checked with John McCarthy to see if it was okay, too, while the introductions were being done very well, as always, by Bruce Buffer. And look at the power of Kevin Randleman.
Look at the quickness of Kevin Randleman.
Wow.
In on Couture immediately, putting him down. Guard position, and now we're going to find out exactly. I've never seen really Randy on his back here defending guard. Let's see how well he'll do against the monster here.
Well, he's got tremendous submission experience now. I mean, he's worked really hard on it. He knew he'd be in this position.
Can opener now.
Fitting that this great heavyweight bout takes place in the Mark Giettis Arena here in the Trump Taj Mahal. His grandmother, Mrs. Grossinger, used to house the heavyweights. They would go there to train in the Catskills, some of the greatest ever. And now in this building, named after Mark Giettis, we have 2 fine heavyweights in the world of mixed martial arts, John Ferretti.
A really lame move by Couture from the bottom, trying to figure 4 arm lock from a bad position.
Watch the armbar!
Mark Coleman's yelling to Kevin Randleman to watch the armbar. As Couture coming to the octagon for the first time since December 1997. Spent time in Australia. My partner was doing the broadcasting with NBC. He was an alternate on the U.S. Olympic team for the 4th time as a wrestler.
I have seen Randy Couture go up against monsters in the sport of wrestling. Almost
Looking for it.
He's got a shot
for it.
Randleman's one powerful guy, but
If he stands up, he's in trouble. He's got to lay down on that leg tight.
keep that leg compressed so he can't extend it, thus extending his arm.
Coleman called before. He said, watch for the armbar. Wow! You want to talk about strength?
Still in trouble. He's got a shoulder.
Couture won't let go of this. Couture is very comfortable here.
Well, he should let go. He should regroup and get back to guard, and he does.
Brute strength there, John.
Yeah, but he saw it coming. He was late, of course, and he used some energy up, but he did see it coming a little bit. Couture is dangerous under there. You know, I mean, he trained Enrico Ciparelli, and he was a very good wrestler and terrific submission guy. It's an interesting family, the Ciparellis.
He has won by submission before, has Randy Couture, in fact, in his debut. He won by a submission and a TKO. And the Ultimate Force back in May of '97 to win the 4-man tournament that night.
See, this is what I don't like about matching two wrestlers. You know, there's no tendency to always go forward. There's no tendency to back up. You know, you never get up and get out of that position. It's irritating.
Now, the one thing we know is that Kevin Randleman has become a lover of the strike game, and you would think that he would like to strike against Randy Couture. So far, we haven't seen that in the ground and pound technique or on the feet. Randleman possessed sometimes with his desire to win by a big-time knockout.
Are you thinking that Randleman should back out of here knowing he can get a takedown at any time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's pull points, because he's not accomplishing anything here.
Couture, he wants it right here.
Well, he threw a little right hand there before. You know, Couture is looking for something. I just can't tell what it is right now. He's being mauled a bit. See, you can't appreciate the quickness of Randleman when he's down there. You know, I mean, this is not the fight to fight against Randy Couture tonight.
Now we'll see what he can do about that. They've got 5-minute rounds in which to show some magic to the fans across the world watching on pay-per-view this evening. 4 minutes off the clock here in round number 1. Kevin Randleman, Randy Couture, heavyweight championship belt on the line.
I like what Randy did. He turned his head to the center of the mat. That way well, there Kevin turned him back again. If he gets pushed up against the fence, it limits his motion, limits how much he can move to maneuver to try and either look for submission or to get away.
Former champion Mark Coleman, best friend, mentor of Kevin Randleman, in his corner here this evening.
This is not the way to fight this fight.
Win the round, Kev. Win the round, baby. Win the round.
Coleman just telling Randleman to win this round. He's got 20 seconds to maintain control of Randy Couture. And then they'll be back on their feet to begin round number 2. Oh, there's a good right.
Gets his head up, elbow.
Final 10 seconds of round number 1. New Jersey State Athletic Board very, very supportive of bringing mixed martial arts in the finest fashion, the UFC, into their great state of New Jersey here tonight. Let's listen into the corners and see what adjustments might be made for round 2.
Beautiful job. You're doing right. Watch the armbar. Give me the ice bag. Give me the ice bag. Give me the ice bag.
When you hear the buzzer when to start, don't worry about this. When I tell you to go, all right?
Watch that armbar, Kev. He's working that armbar. He's working that armbar. Be careful.
He was working the armbar indeed. That's when Randleman might have found himself in trouble.
He went for it twice. There's what you're talking about, John. That speed of Randleman. Change level, drop down on the legs, just knock him flat.
Yeah, I call that quickness. But yeah, that's exactly right. Now you see, he sees it very late.
He's also got 2 hands on it, which helped a little bit.
Now he was able to work his way out of it.
But not in proper fashion.
Just with
horsepower.
Yeah.
Horsepower, and he burped him too. He burped him off the ground, and that's not the way to do it. He should have walked around the head. He could have freed it.
Let's see what we have here. Couture with a right. It misses. Randleman tries to answer. And we have a boxing match here to begin round number 2. Boom! Oh, big combination. Big left and right. He connected with both on Randy Couture.
Well, Randleman sees that Randy blinks his eyes and turns his head a little bit to the right.
Body shot now by Kevin Randleman.
See, Kevin should just back off now and do it again and again and again.
Here's Greco. This is more Randy's turf now, going with a clinch as opposed to staying on the legs and trying to lift.
Couture will stay busy.
I'm sure Randy doesn't want to let go of him now, Jeff.
No, not with him under both his arms. Before it was over-under. Each one had the same kind of hold, but here Randy wants to keep against the fence as well. He knows if he moves towards the center, he could be tripped down. Fence will keep him up, even if he gets off balance.
Well, this position, the clinch, is what made Randy Couture victorious back in October of '97.
Slick with the right hand.
But look at Kevin Randleman. Combination.
Doing exactly what he said, but he's putting his head down really low, and he can get kneed very easily from that position.
These two are going at it here to start the second round. I like what I see.
Double right overs. Yeah, excuse me, I stepped on you. But that's one over the top, one under the bottom for Randleman.
Now, these guys are stepping all over each other, John Peretti, so no worries in the broadcast booth. We are safe here.
Looking at a guillotine choke.
Good knee.
Nice knee to the head.
Randleman's holding his head much too low. Here's a Brazilian position. You should turn the guy with your feet and your hands at the same time. Their base doesn't count for anything. That's a great position for Randy Couture. He just doesn't know how to use it.
I know what you're trying to do. So you lock your hands, pull them up towards your head, and then go sideways with them, right? But you got to know, too, that Randleman's been on a lot of double legs in his life.
Now you push your feet all the way through and underhook his legs.
Randy Couture breathing heavily right now, trying to get some gas back here. 2:46 remaining in round number 2.
I think Randleman is also winded there. That was a good flurry that both of them put on, yeah.
Randleman should disengage.
Seems Randleman's content to stay there. Now he moves up on the body.
He moves into a worse position.
And these are two of the finest fighters in the world. And they are working it here tonight. The heavyweights, Kevin Randleman, Randy Couture.
This fight continues in this fashion with neither one really having a decisive edge. Frustration can start to play in, and certainly conditioning can play into it. And I've seen Randy Couture go long distances with some very good people.
Well, I think Randy Couture's gonna fatigue quicker than Randleman in this game. And here comes the armbar again. You watch the way the legs come up and over the top. You'll see it, the way he attacks it. It's really, Jiu-Jitsu 101.
Basically what we're seeing here, John, is Kevin Randleman doing to Randy Couture what Randy Couture did to Maurice Smith. And that is just control the top.
Yeah, absolutely. What's so funny is that Kevin hits so hard, but his wrists aren't conditioned, so they bend when they hit things, you know?
He's got an awful lot of power on really what was a 177-pound frame when he was in the NCAAs in college.
Yeah, he's a thoroughbred. He's amazing.
6'1", 220 coming into tonight's showdown.
Now, you didn't see the wrist of Orlovsky bend when he hit Brick over the top of the head, boy. I felt that from where I was sitting.
I'll tell you what, that was impressive. Couture at 220, Randleman at 214, so up almost 50 pounds on what he was as a wrestler.
I almost think Orlovsky let him try to step over, and then when he brought his arm through thinking, hey, I got him, I'm going to bring him down, that's when he invited the arm bar. And
he was so calm.
Got caught. Yeah,
Orlovsky was so calm.
I like that, man. I was very impressed with him.
Yeah.
Barnett, Babalu, Orlovsky, Palmer, all impressive here tonight. Victorious. Who will win the big one, though?
See, this is not a good game for Randy.
You gotta start working. You gotta hit.
Mark Coleman appears to be very relaxed.
Yeah, I think they're too relaxed. That's a very relaxed corner, and I would be screaming at Randleman to get the hell out of there and fight his fight.
Don't let him rest in there.
Randy hasn't been able to do anything to gain any points here, though, in round 1 or 2, John.
That same silly figure 4 elbow lock from the guard. I mean, it's just means nothing. Big left hand by Randleman underneath.
Kevin doing his grounding. And successful with it. The takedowns being the big thing for Randleman, able to get some grappling scoring.
doing good. You got to train.
What would you like to see Randy Couture try to do differently in round 3, John?
He is tired.
Randy is got a real problem, you know, if he goes down. He doesn't have the skills down there to get him through. You know, the power of Randleman. You know, I think what Jeff said was right. He should tie him up and play that upper body game.
You got to wear him out. You're doing great in the clinch, throwing some good knees.
Big right hand here. Boom, the left and then the right over the top. Good combination.
See, that's the fight. See how quick he is?
John, you're twisting all over in your chair here. I like how you're watching all this punching. Yeah, Randleman scored nicely there from the standing, and you see him changing levels, coming in from different angles.
Yeah, and then see, he brought his head down. If he controlled his upper body, he could actually knee Couture. You know, could accomplish something there. But playing that outside game, you know, is all Randleman. He's so explosive.
Yeah, you don't want to stay outside with Randleman. That's where he wants to be.
Here we go, third round underway. 5-minute rounds on the card here tonight. Couture and Randleman for the heavyweight championship of the Ultimate Fighting Championship.
I saw that.
A kick.
Sorry, I just saw that. You know, I mean, he looked really weird. He looked like he was going to do something funny there. There it was.
Fakes the left jab. Couture trying to close in, take over the center of the ring.
Putting his head down, that's a bad move. And
Here's a clinch. This is where Randy wants to be now.
Knees and a clinch. I mean, and that's, see? This corner knows what's going on. That's Dan Henderson, boy.
Watch for the uppercut here as well. Randy likes to throw uppercuts. And I wonder, is he playing the kind of game Shamrock did against Ortiz? Doesn't mind losing a round or two? Thinking he can get it all late?
No, he got hurt before. And as you said, this is not Kevin's game, you know. This is
not upper body, not trying to do what he's doing right now. But Randy is persistent. He has a way of wearing on you. All my experiences with him in wrestling, as I said, you know, he's beaten some people who just smother others.
Gotta watch the knee to the face.
Kevin bends over too much, bring it up from the outside.
He gets two hands behind his neck like that, you know, he's vulnerable for it. Kevin should disengage. He's a little bit mulish, you know?
Yep, a lot of forward back. A lot of forward back.
What does that mean?
Just each guy pulling. Each one wants to go forward and either going forward or backward. There's no circular motion, change of level, anything to kind of interrupt or disrupt or set up your opponent.
See the leg hanging out there now? That's perfect. Couture's doing the right thing.
Yeah, Couture's starting to frustrate Kevin Randleman here in round number 3. His game is starting to be played in full.
Look at that straight knee.
There it is.
There we go. Now, Randy Couture's world. Ground and pound, Randy Couture.
And I haven't seen Kevin really ever play from the guard before.
Now he is active.
And Couture's got straight shots coming down. Efficient punches, not roundhouse.
Randleman has not been put in this position before.
But here's the same wrestler mentality. Excuse me, Jeff, but he could pass the guard with a tree trunk there. I mean, you could roll a van through that opening, and he doesn't pass.
I don't like how Randleman just grabbed his leg. He grabbed it reverse. He's taking his own hand out of the picture of defense.
Now he brings Couture in, and Couture landed with a lot of punches there. He is in control of round number 3.
But why from that position?
I think it's because he's finding success. We may see more out of Couture next round. I really believe Randy was playing the setup game there. Very cerebral athlete.
Now he wanted to wear down his opponent.
I see blood.
Randleman is cut. There it is.
Oh, bridge of the nose. That's fine.
So Randleman and Couture tying it up here in the 3rd round. Wow, here we go again. Couture, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times.
There's not much
with the right hand, jackhammers.
Let's go.
Couture maybe going to get a dominant round here.
Well, he's got a dominant position finally.
Now he's in the full mount. And still a lot of time to work. Over 60 seconds remaining in round number 3.
But I bet you Kevin's a bridging machine when he wants to be. Look how flat he's laying. You see his legs are completely flat.
Couture continuing to punish Kevin Randleman.
Kevin is clueless as to how to escape from this.
Clock needs to become Kevin Randleman's partner now.
He's never been in that position.
No, he hasn't.
Couture full mount on Randleman. Randleman keeping those big arms up.
Randleman is really
continuing to pound away. And continuing and continuing.
And that's gonna do
it is over. It is over. Randy Couture is the heavyweight champion again.
Told you both, I've seen Randy Couture go against monsters in the sport of wrestling, and it's not so much wrestling that won this fight, it's the mindset of Randy Couture. He's able to look at an opponent, figure out what he wants to do, and he's got the stick-to-itiveness to stick to it despite what looked like 2 bad rounds. But finally able to connect. Third round, put the champ Kevin Randleman away by getting the full mount with efficient punching.
Started with the clinch. He frustrated Kevin Randleman. Randleman had his chances early. John Peretti talked about how he did not take advantage of them. And our new UFC heavyweight champion, as the fight was stopped at 4:13 of the third round, is that man right there, Randy the Natural Couture.
Here and up against the fence, Couture in an upper body position uses his left leg to sweep out Randleman's right leg and put him down. There was a short, hard punch, and that might have been the one that opened up the eye of Randleman.
That's a position that Kevin has never practiced. You know, he's just never practiced being mounted. He never practiced having guard on anybody. He never thought he'd be there.
And look at this at the end. Randy Couture in control. John McCarthy right there. Fighter not intelligently able to defend himself, and it was over. Randy Couture is the new UFC heavyweight champion of the world.
He sure is.
Man, oh man. Let's go inside the octagon. Here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referee has stopped the bout at 4 minutes, 13 seconds of the third round for the winner and new UFC heavyweight champion of the world, Randy the Natural Couture.
So Randy Couture, who never lost his belt inside the octagon, is getting a great show of class from Kevin Randleman as he puts the belt around the waist of our new champion, Randy Couture, 5-0 in his ultimate fighting championship career.
Kevin, a lot of class. You said it, boy. I'll tell you, that guy has grown emotionally. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing to watch.
It's amazing to watch Randy Couture. Are you surprised?
I'm not surprised. I just think that he played a bad game, you know, and Randy started playing the good game. Upper body control and knees. I mean, we called it. You know, there it was.
And when he had it, he took advantage of it. He was able to finish the very powerful Kevin Randleman. So the Natural, who over contract disputes and other interests never defended his title that he won back in 1997, wins the belt again tonight. He is undefeated and an undisputed champion here in the UFC. My partner, the gold medalist, Jeff Blatnick, is inside the octagon. Jeff.
Thank you very much, Mike. Randy, first of all, congratulations from all of us. I have to ask you, what do you feel was the turning point in that fight for you?
Boy, it just kind of came suddenly. I was on the bottom, as you saw, for most of the fight. Kevin is an awesome athlete. I had a lot of respect for him. I just hung in there, try to tie him up as much as possible, see if I could take some energy out of him. Actually, I don't think he slowed down a whole lot. I was fortunate to pull his legs out and get on top there right at the end of the third period. And once I got the mount position, he really had nowhere to go with the fence. So it was just fortunate for me.
What kind of game plan did you have? Please tell our fans how you felt the fight should go.
Well, you never really know with a fight. I mean, you establish a game plan. My game plan was to lower my stance a little so he couldn't take me down outright, which I ended up getting taken down twice anyway, which I expected. I trained for that. I prepared to be ready on the bottom. I was close to an armbar in the first round. which I need to learn to be more effective on the bottom. You never know when you're going to end up there. I think that he spent a lot of energy on top, trying to hit me, trying to keep me down there. And then in the third round, I got a little purchase on his body. I was able to tie him up a little bit, which is, I think, my area of strength with Greco is clinching. And I was able to take him down from the clinch position. And that's something that I work a lot on. So.
Do you feel conditioning would have been a factor?
It's hard to say. I've watched Kevin fight. He doesn't seem to get too tired in any of his fights, so I expected to go the distance if it came to that.
Well, why don't we take a look over here on the monitor, check out the end of the fight. Why don't you talk us through it?
This is after I passed his guard and ended up in the mount position. And he really had nowhere to go from here. I saw a small cut somewhere on his nose. It was hard to tell where that was from, but he basically was trapped. There just wasn't any place for him to go.
Well, let me ask you, I know you've been an Olympic alternate 4 different times. Perhaps the Olympics is the only thing you don't have on your resume in the sport of wrestling, but tell me, how satisfying is it to be UFC heavyweight champion once again?
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome. I never even thought about the championship when I first entered this. It just kind of happened. And now, specifically setting goals to get back here and achieve the belt again, it feels terrific.
Well, at this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Bob Meyerowitz, president of SCG, and I'm sure he has a few words he'd also like to say to you, Randy.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, it was really 2 great champions in the ring tonight. And really, Atlantic City, wasn't this some great night for 2 great champions? Kevin. 2 great champions.
Now Kevin Randleman showing great class and great sportsmanship here this evening as he now has a word to say.
To say anything because there's a new champion in town, but I told you guys a long time ago, the only way that I can be beat is by a wrestler. And I always, my words are always good, and I got beat by one of the best wrestlers. I said it before, he's a great fighter, a great champion, and I look forward to watching him fight again. And if I work hard enough, maybe he'll give me another shot. But congrats to Randy Couture, his wife, Dan Henderson, his whole damn team. And I'm thanking everyone that's following the sport, because Randy, myself, and every other Ultimate Fighter out there, we're going to try and make this one of those sports that you're going to want to come see, even when you're 56 years old. God bless you, Randy. You're a damn good champion, a great champion at that.
Thank you both.
Young man.
Congratulations.
He's grown a lot.
Yeah, he has grown a lot. I'll tell you what. Well, thank you very much, Blatz, and what a great show of class and sportsmanship. And for those who don't understand what this combative sport is all about, it is about what you saw right there. 2 competitors going toe-to-toe and then showing the ultimate of respect for each other.
Clearly.
And so it is shown here tonight between Randy Couture and Kevin Randleman, 2 great champions doing battle. We have officially a new champion in the heavyweight division of the UFC. It is that man, HCK, Howard Combat on his shorts, and guns in those hands. He is the new heavyweight champion. Randy Couture regains the belt that he won almost 3 years ago in defeating Maurice Smith at Ultimate Japan. It was a night that many thought should have happened years ago. This great sport coming into the fighting state of New Jersey. We thank all of those from the New Jersey State Athletic Board, Larry Hazard, the commissioner, who helped this to happen. Who will tap out in the big election? We will find out in the next few days. There were some great tap outs tonight, including our submission of the night that came earlier in this great card.
It's time for tonight's submission of the night, brought to you by Submission Fighter Magazine.
The submission of the night belongs to this man, Andrei Orlevsky, the great fighter out of Minsk, Belarus. He was able to arm bar Aaron Brink 55 seconds into the second fight we saw this evening. Our Submission Fighter Magazine submission of the night. John Peretti, thank you for being with us in the broadcast
I thank you, Goldie.
position.
I thank you, Jeff. You guys are the best.
Always a pleasure to work with our great matchmaker, John Peretti, and to see this man fight. Randy Couture still in the ring, enjoying what is one of the finest moments in his fighting career.
I'll tell you, I had that inkling. I've seen Randy do it before. He just somehow finds a way to frustrate his opponent and get it to fall into his realm. He did it once again here.